Jim Gordon here in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel. Time for another edition of Richmond Stories. And joining us now at the table once again in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel is Rika Mansingh. Welcome back.
So grateful to be here, Jim.
Great to have you. Well, in our first segment, which a lot of people have been watching, judging by the numbers I've been seeing, what we decided to do that we were going to have you back once a month now to talk about a specific health subject matter. The first segment we covered a lot. Here we're going to talk this time about a specific issue, and that's blood sugar management. I think a lot of people are interested in this. I know I am. Is it true that, let's start with, can you explain a bit about blood sugar and the management of it?
Okay, so basically, and I'd like to speak about type 2 diabetes to show how powerful diet is in terms of reversing type 2 diabetes and controlling blood sugar. So, Jim, type 2 diabetes occurs mainly because a person becomes overweight. So the more overweight a person is, the more difficult it is to control their blood sugar. Right? And so when we eat a meal, our blood sugar levels increase. And our body produces a hormone called insulin. And we need insulin because insulin helps control our blood sugars. Now, when a person is overweight, that insulin is not enough, or the insulin does not work well. And so the blood sugars remain elevated.
Interesting.
But if a person actually loses weight, they do their physical activity, and they actually eat healthily, they can reduce their medication and eliminate it completely.
Well, that leads me into my next question, which is it true that type 2 diabetes is completely reversible through healthy eating?
It is, through healthy eating, physical activity, and weight management. And if a person neglects their diet when they're diabetic, they will actually go on oral hypoglycemic index medication to reduce their blood sugars. And they will also take insulin. The thing about taking insulin injections is that the more insulin you take, the more weight you gain. And the more weight you gain, the more insulin resistant you become. So it's something we want to avoid by just eating healthily, doing exercise, and managing your weight.
I think this is a problem. I'm not alone in this, obviously, and that is sugar. People are always looking for different things to substitute for sugar. I mean, what about honey or artificial sweeteners? They tend to really appeal, but are they really doing what they're claiming they can do?
That's a very interesting question, Jim, because I see many patients who, they tell me, Rika, I don't do any white sugar, I don't do any brown sugar, but after doing a dietary history, there's some honey, there's this artificial sweetener, and they all will accumulate. So the thing about honey is that it still gives you lots of calories, and it can increase your blood sugar. Not as much as white sugar and brown sugar, but if you have too much honey, your blood sugars will be elevated. Your artificial sweeteners, for example, your aspartame, saccharin, sucralose, studies have found that what they actually do is increase your craving for sweeter foods throughout the day. And the other thing that artificial sweeteners do is they disrupt the good bacteria in our gut. And we spoke a little bit about that in our previous segment. We need our good bacteria for digestion, for metabolism, for mood. So the artificial sweeteners, not ideal. So what we can do then is rather choose a natural sweetener like stevia.
And what is that?
So it's derived from the stevia plant. And the good thing about that sweetener is that it's low cal and it doesn't affect your blood sugars. So sometimes you could just add a drop of stevia into a beverage and it's going to be flavored and it will not affect your blood sugars.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And is it readily available?
Yes, you can get that in sachets, you can get it as stevia drops, lots of different variations of stevia. Another thing is if you want to flavor your oats, you could add cinnamon. Cinnamon controls blood sugar, right? Rather sprinkle a few blueberries to your oats. And another option that you can do is actually add any protein to any food that you're having.
Okay. I was just thinking too, is there such thing as like a good sugar? I mean, sugar is in fruit.
Yes.
Is that bad? I mean, can you eat too many apples, let's say, or?
So when it comes to fruit, a key thing to remember is, okay, fruit does have natural sugar, fructose sugar, but if we have too much of it, again, we will raise our blood sugar.
Interesting.
And what's also interesting, Jim, is that a lot of people say they're having lots of fruit and they're not going to gain weight because fruit are fat-free. but they're not sugar-free.
Sugar-free, right.
When we push up our blood sugar and we increase our insulin, insulin is a fat-storing hormone.
Right.
So a person will gain weight even though they're eating lots of fruit. So the key thing with fruit is when you're having fruit, it should be about a tennis ball size portion at a time,
right.
or handful size portion. And what you want to do with fruit is make sure you're having fruit with fiber. For example, an apple has a peel. Blueberries have a little peel.
Right.
Strawberries have the gritty bits. So those give the fruit fiber.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
okay.
fiber delays the digestion of sugar. So fiber is crucial.
Interesting, because I know you, because we've known each other a long time, and you got me to, you were saying, don't, I was saying, well, I'm trying to eat healthy snacks, and I'd have a banana and an orange. You're going, that's too much.
Too much, yes.
Yeah, interesting.
It's healthy because you're getting our vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, but in a bigger quantity, it's affecting our blood sugar levels.
Interesting, okay. We mentioned the first segment, of course, one of the many things you do is you're also a best-selling author. In your book, The Empowered Mind Diet Equation, you reference glycemic index.
Yes.
Explain that to our viewers.
Okay, the glycemic index is a very useful tool. And what it does, it actually measures how quickly the carbohydrate in a food is digested.
Right.
So basically, Jim, foods with a high GI are digested super fast, and they cause a rapid release of sugar into your blood.
Interesting. We're looking at a chart right now on the screen here, the high and low GI.
And your foods with a low GI are digested slower, so they cause a more gradual release of sugar into the blood.
Right.
And it's such an important tool because also the foods with a high GI, for example, your white bread, your white rice, your white pasta, your potato, your corn, the food with the high GI, you'll find you can eat a lot of it before you get full.
Right.
Because it has a low satiety value. So you're eating a lot, you're not getting full, you're taking in the calories, which will contribute to weight. Because it's digested faster over a shorter time, you are now hungry faster. So increases appetite, increases cravings, and will affect your mood because we created an imbalance in the blood sugar. Right?
Yeah.
And your low GI, so that's your brown and wild rice, your steel cut oats, your sweet potato, your yam fries, your peas.
I just interrupt you there. Yam fries compared to regular fries. I didn't realize that was actually a good fry.
There is a difference, right?
Wow.
Because your lower GI, like we said, is digested slower, but also you get full faster while you're eating it. So you'll notice if you're having brown rice or wild rice, you eat a little bit and you're full. But if you're having white rice, you can eat a whole load of white rice before you get full. So again, you get full faster, digested slower over a longer time. So you're controlling your appetite, your cravings, and in that way also controlling your mood.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, not to be critical, because various Asian-based food places I go to, brown rice is often not offered.
Right.
But is there less sugar
so
in brown rice compared to?
So the brown rice, it's just the way it's digested, right? And it has slightly more fiber compared to white rice, right?
Yeah.
But the way to manage, let's say, I really want to eat white rice. You want to combine it with protein and fiber, right? So maybe add lots of veggies, maybe add some protein, because protein and fiber will always delay the digestion of a high carbohydrate food, right? And so the key thing there is we want to prevent the peaks and the valleys. We want our blood sugar stable. So fiber is your friend, protein is your friend in every meal. And no matter what meal you're having, be mindful of the portion size.
Interesting, okay. I mentioned fruit a few moments ago. One of the things I see all over downtown, you and I both live downtown, is people walking with those huge fruit-based health shakes, whatever you want to call them, smoothies, thinking, I'm doing really well, I'm eating healthy, and it's just not the case.
Exactly, and that ties into that a lot of those fruit smoothies, fine fruit, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, but still elevates the blood sugar, right? So I would make a smoothie with one portion of fruit, and the fruit that I would choose are the ones good for your brain, right? Because we should always ask ourselves when we're eating something, what is this going to do for me? So I'd rather use berries, raspberries, strawberries. The rest of the shake could be vegetarian based, so maybe more kale, green leafy veggies. You want more veggies, less fruit. And to delay the digestion of the sugar from the fruit, you can add a protein powder. Or you could add something like a plain, fat-free, unsweetened Greek yogurt to the smoothie. Yes, so less sugar, more protein and veg.
Staying with this too, and I didn't talk to you about this before, but I don't know whether you can answer this, but one of the things I was trying to take in when I was working out a lot more than I do now, let's say, was having protein-based shakes.
Right.
Is raw powdered protein, it's difficult on the stomach, is it not? Like I found I just couldn't digest it as well.
Right. Now, it depends on the type of protein that you have.
Whey have some
right.
whey?
Yeah, so some people digest whey better, some people don't. Casein, a lot of people find difficult to digest, right? But now the new trend is people are moving towards collagen. Because collagen hydrolyzed peptides, they've already been broken down by water.
Right.
And so it's more easily absorbed than other proteins.
Interesting.
Right? And collagen offers other benefits. It's good for your hair, your skin, your nails. It's good to prevent inflammation in the gut. So there's a lot more benefits to collagen.
There's diet fads every other week. Let's talk about one that I know some of our mutual friends have been trying at times, low-carb diet for blood sugar and weight management. Bread is a big thing for everybody, and most people anyway. I don't eat it a lot, but I know that people love it. How does that play in with the low-carb diet?
Right. So when it comes to bread is not a bad thing, right? Unless, of course, as we were discussing earlier, you're choosing the high GI white bread, the white burger buns and bagels, right? So rather go the multi-grain bread because that's better for blood pressure, cardiovascular health, blood sugars, and for weight management. If you're not sure about a bread, just have a glance at the ingredients list. So per slice of bread, a bread should have at least 4 grams of fiber per slice.
Per slice?
Yes, right? And there's also, people ask me about sprouted grain breads. Those are also good breads. The minerals and vitamins from those breads are easily absorbed, right? You also get sourdough fermented breads, which are good. They have some good bacteria. They are fermented, so they have lactobacilli bacteria, and the vitamins and minerals are more easily absorbed. But again, here with bread, we want to be mindful about our quantities, because even if you're having your multigrain low GI bread and you're having too much of it, too much of anything is going to affect your blood sugars.
Interesting. Going back to your book that we mentioned, The Empowered Mind Diet Equation, you mentioned this to me a while ago, that researchers are now referring to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes.
Yes.
Explain that.
So there's actually many links. So I find this so interesting. Okay, first of all, we know that when we have too much sugar, excess sugar in the brain actually binds with protein in the brain. And it forms something called beta amyloid protein plaques, as seen with Alzheimer's disease. And I did touch a little bit on that in the previous segment, right? But sugar is actually very inflammatory. And when we see diabetic patients that, they've got elevated blood sugars, for example, diabetes damages blood vessels. So if we have damaged blood vessels, we have poor circulation to the brain. And poor circulation to the brain can contribute to cognitive decline, and we can have poor learning and memory. And also, Jim, what is very interesting, and I think this is going to make viewers very mindful about weight and sugar, is this. The more sugar we eat, the more weight we gain. And studies have found that the more overweight a person is, the smaller the hippocampus, that's the memory center of the brain.
Oh, really?
Right. And so Daniel Amen, so I'm going to reference Daniel Amen. He's a psychiatrist and brain disorder specialist. And he studied over 85,000 brain scans. And he found a correlation between an increase in a person's physical size and a decrease in their cognitive functioning and memory. So that is one reason to keep our weight within check. It is not good for memory.
I'm going to be the boo-hoo guy here with our next question. Most of us like to imbibe in an alcoholic beverage occasionally. That, of course, can raise blood sugar. What advice do you give somebody like that? Or do you, if you're drinking too much, that's a separate issue. But you get somebody on, like that's got to be part of the maintenance if you want to get on a diet or you want to eat healthier or maintain a better lifestyle. What do you say about that?
So when it comes to beverage, any beverage, even your fruit juices, alcohol, because they increase your blood sugar, you want to make sure, especially with alcohol, that you're having a fiber-containing snack. Because remember, fiber always delays the digestion of sugar. So you're
having a glass of wine,
maybe
you want
a multigrain crackers or multigrain, but eat something with fiber in it,
Good point. Okay.
So that would prevent the peaks and valleys in your blood sugar. Because remember, alcohol increases blood sugar. and it causes hypoglycemia, so your blood sugar is going to drop.
Right.
When it drops, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel depressed, your mood is going to be affected.
Right.
So how we prevent that is we drink water in between the alcoholic beverages.
Right.
And even more important is to supplement with your B vitamins. B12 in particular, because if alcohol is depleting B12, B12 deficiency is linked to depression and poor memory.
Interesting.
And a very, very interesting thing is vitamin B1. Alcohol depletes vitamin B1. And there's something called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, where if a person is drinking a lot of alcohol
Right.
and they are not supplementing with vitamin B1, they're going to have more issues with memory and depression.
Wow.
Yeah, so that I think is very important for people to know.
So even going out after work,
Yes.
what have you,
B
a couple
vitamins,
glasses of
yeah.
wines, but also in meal-wise, it could
Yes.
be as simple as, say, if you're going to have a glass of, you want to have something with fiber.
Yes.
Make sure that if that burger you feel that you need to have
Right.
has a whole wheat bun.
Yes.
Right.
And Jim, I remember in the previous segment, you told me that you have a fiber supplement.
Yes, yes.
So if a person's having a fiber supplement, if they're having, a drink, maybe add collagen to another glass of water, you're getting protein with that. There's ways, there's lots of different tricks to that.
Interesting. I'm sure there are viewers out there who would like to hear more. Of course, you can find out more information about Rika and what she does at Rika Diet 4. You can see the website up on the screen right there. RikaDiet4Wellness.com. What about personal consultations? Because you do a lot of that, I know.
Yes, I do. I do a lot of virtual consults. It's always nice to see a patient while they're at home and they go to their fridge and this is a supplement I'm taking.
Oh, good.
I
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
it's like,
right.
I find it, and it's through COVID that, there were more virtual consults, and
Right.
I love it. Yeah. And I always say, like, the individualized approach, taking into account a person's usual pattern of eating, their medication, their medical condition, their lifestyle,
Right.
allows you to make changes that are sustainable for them and easy to follow.
Excellent. It's RikaDiet4Wellness.com. You can see her work as our newest columnist in the Richmond Sentinel, and of course these videos. Questions, as I said, we'd like to hear from you, and you can find Rika's website if you want to talk to her. Rika Mansingh from the Richmond Sentinel, and a whole bunch of other things.
Thank you.
All available on our website, and of course here at the Richmond
Thank
Sentinel.
you, Jim.
You're quite welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
more great advice for our viewers. We hope you enjoyed. I'm Jim Gordon here in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel. We'll see you next time.